the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go.
You're finished. Stop.
Get up. Gotta wake up, bitch. Get up.
Oh.
Get up. Get up.
Launch the counterattack. What's up, everybody? My name is Paulo G. and Rubio. If you are watching this from YouTube, you may or may not know that. If you're watching it from Facebook, how's it going, my friends? Welcome to another random, unscheduled podcast about the Filipino martial arts. First of all, I want to ask, how's my audio coming through? I am just using the onboard mic. I have my mic. I just don't have it set up. So let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Give me a thumbs up or let me know in the comments. Today, we're going to talk about monetizing and commercializing Filipino martial arts. This is a topic that is personal to me. Because I am a guy on social media. God, I hate the term, influencer. It's very cringe, but somebody reminded me the other day that, there's some words out there like tactical that may be tainted, right? It may be overused and bastardized, but it's nonetheless accurate, right? So as much as I cringe at the term influencer, I guess I have 1 million subscribers on YouTube on one channel. I have 100,000 followers on Instagram. Screw it. I'm an influencer. Bleh. All right. GM Pauli. I am a grandmaster. Thank you very much. I'm a grandmaster, self-appointed of my own system, which I have yet to create. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you guys are all doing well. For those who've been following my journey in the Filipino martial arts, thank you so much. Good, bad, ugly. I lay it all out there, and I appreciate you guys. So I get asked, people want to know what my intention is. There are some self-appointed gatekeepers in the Filipino martial arts, right? Sometimes they can be a little douchey, little assholey. They sometimes they ask me like, hey, wait, as if Filipino martial arts is like their teenage daughter, and I am this horny teenager about to take her out on a date. These Filipino martial arts instructors and students would be like, well, Mr. Rubio, what is your intention with Filipino martial arts? What do you intend to do with her? I always find this question entertaining to answer, right? Yes. You look like a friend of mine. Hey, Tristan, how are you? Hope you're doing good. I'm not sure if we know each other, but thank you for joining us. But yeah, there's a lot of Filipino martial arts instructors who've been doing it for some time, who fancy themselves as gatekeepers, fathers and godfathers of the Filipino martial arts. And so when somebody new comes in, it's like, make sure to bring her home by midnight and don't desecrate her good name and integrity. So I want to talk about the monetization and the commercialization of the Filipino martial arts. But first, I'd like to share a little bit of my journey, if you guys have some time for that, because I feel like sometimes because I'm an influencer, people kind of get the wrong intention or the wrong idea, right? First of all, I am trying to monetize Filipino martial arts for me. And why? Why do I want to monetize the Filipino martial arts? It's important for you to know a little bit of my background. I was making a great living serving the tactical community, right? When people ask me what I did for a living, I say I did law enforcement. I serviced law enforcement, military, and professional security industries, defense industries, as a storyteller, right? So, I've done work for Glock and Smith and Wesson and Barrett. I used to go to the SHOT Show every year, making content for these firearms manufacturers, for these outdoor lifestyle, hunting, tactical. And I used to make a great living doing that. And then, boom, Filipino martial arts punched me right in the face. At this time, I had been working with Kuya Doug Marcaida. We had our separation, but I view my my time with Kuya Doug these days under a positive light. And in the process, I found Tuhan Jared Mihungi. And that's when I really fell in love with the Filipino martial arts. I fell in love with fighting, with sticks, right? It was amazing. And it gripped me. And then all of a sudden, I dropped so much of what I was doing in the tactical community, also partly because, it had gotten a little bit draining for me. The tactical community can be a bit draining. And they like to call themselves a tight-knit community, but it's really cutthroat. And that's the honest truth about the tactical community, right? And I thought the Filipino martial arts community would be different. I thought the martial arts community would be different. Anyway, long story short, I started transitioning my time, my effort, my energy, my focus, my passion from this tactical industry to the martial arts by way of the Filipino martial arts. And those who are on the Aperture Fight Forum know this. Some of you guys are members of the Aperture Fight Forum. You know that I view the lens of fighting through the Filipino martial arts. And so by virtue of that transition from tactical to martial arts through the lens of Filipino martial arts, well, I started losing a lot of money. And I was okay with that for some time. I wanted, to develop myself personally. But through this, I realized that I'm not going to be able to sustain my passion for the Filipino martial arts. And I'm not going to be able to infuse rocket fuel into that learning process if I'm worrying about paying the bills, and you guys know this. Martial arts instructors know this, right? That when you're behind on your rent, when you're behind on paying the utilities, you're not at your break-even number of students, it really weighs on you. But when all of those necessities are taken care of, then you really can focus on your art and providing the best service you can to your students, right? So I think monetizing your journey in the Filipino martial arts we should encourage it. But the thing with crab mentality is that there are so many people doing the Filipino martial arts who aren't monetizing it, or who have made attempts but cannot. And they see those who might be successful at it through a jealous lens, right? There's a lot of jealousy in the Filipino martial arts, a lot of jealousy. And I wanted to, with this Stream of Consciousness podcast, sort of think through that with you guys. So if you have comments, in fact, I'm going to do that right now. Should FMA be monetized? So first of all, I want to say some things, right? I have definitely observed folks who have gotten into FMA for the sole purpose of monetizing it, right? And I want to make a distinction between those people and people who, for example, own a karate dojo, a taekwondo dojo, something like that, and they want to plug in Filipino martial arts for the purpose of better monetization. I think that's perfectly fine, right? Like if you own a Krav Maga studio, whatever that is, if you own a martial arts studio and then you wanted to have a Filipino martial arts offering in there on the side, right? For retention, recruitment, whatever, I think that's perfectly fine. I think you're perfectly cool to do that. But I still think that there definitely is people, there are people who are like, well, and they're very proud, right? They're very proud to say, I don't charge my students. I don't make money off Filipino martial arts. And I think, number one, that's cool. If you feel like you're upholding the traditions of Filipino martial arts, of how it's always been or how it used to be, I think that's perfectly fine. But oftentimes it's said, it's kind of like a veiled jab, right? People want to be proud that they don't charge their students anything or that they don't monetize Filipino martial arts. And it's like, boom, their pride for upholding the tradition is delivered with this negativity, a comparative negativity, to say that those who do charge students are somehow not pure, not upholding tradition. All right. And I think that's absolute bullshit. Let me tell you something. I've started teaching live in-person classes. I don't charge anything, zero. And the reason for that is because it was from an existing Muay Thai boxing jiu-jitsu academy. I started teaching Filipino martial arts there every Saturday. And it's a nice thing for the students to have there who are enrolled in those programs to be able to do Filipino martial arts on Saturdays. I don't charge them anything, but I want to. Eventually, I want to charge them. There are some people who I train in private. I don't charge them, but I want to. And the reason I want to is because, and I'll quote Tuhan Jack Latore from Pikiti Tertia International, when he charges people for his Zoom lessons or his in-person classes, he characterizes it like this. He says, you're not paying me for my Filipino martial arts knowledge. You're compensating me for my time away from my family. I think that's a great way to put it. But I want to take it a step further. I think it's perfectly fine to monetize your knowledge. See, the tutorial, how do I characterize it? The online course industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it is a growth industry. People are selling their knowledge from how to make a good curry goat to how to manicure a lawn to how to throw a perfect punch. This is the future of e-commerce. People are selling their knowledge, they're selling their brain, they're selling what they know. And I think this is a great thing. And this is a great thing, particularly as we move forward into the future of artificial intelligence and automation. That the greatest asset we have as human beings is the ability to share our knowledge, our wisdom, our experiences. And so when we look at the Filipino martial arts as a pool of knowledge, then surely there's nobility in wanting to share that. And if you're a family man, surely there is integrity and nobility in wanting to monetize your passion. And so I think it's perfectly fine. However, there is still this crab mentality in the Filipino martial arts where when we see somebody gain a level of success, we begin to view them as competition, and we want to throw stones at them, which is not cool. There are some people that are somehow impervious to this kind of criticism, but who still monetize and commercialize the Filipino martial arts to a very high degree. One of those people is a friend of mine, somebody I have a lot of respect for, and that is Grandmaster Bobby Taboada. I have had the great fortune of sitting down and sharing many meals with GM Bobby. I have documented so many hours of conversation with him. I see how he teaches. I know what he says. And so GM Bobby is a great example of somebody who has made a living from the Filipino martial arts. And that is rooted in the exact same thing as people who may be accused of monetizing Filipino martial arts, right? And that is to spread the art. GM Bobby's number one mandate, and you can ask him yourself, what's his number one mandate? Why is he doing this? What's his purpose? What's his intention? He might tell you that his number one intention is to honor his grandmasters by spreading the art, and he's done exactly that. He's gone through his struggles, and hopefully these days, he is more harvesting the fruits of his labor, so to speak. So GM Bobby is one example of a person whose entire livelihood surrounds the monetization and the commercialization of Filipino martial arts. Now, this is what I want to say, that again, both of these terms, monetization and commercialization, have some negative connotation to them that I want to just eradicate, right? What does it mean to commercialize something? Well, for some people, they automatically think, oh, he's watering it down. Commercialization means that there can't be a level of that boutique, intimate, one-on-one experience. And if we examine Grandmaster Bobby Taboada, we know that those things aren't true, right? We know that he services an individual as he would service a group with great care and consideration for each and every one of those people. And we know that by spreading the art, it isn't necessarily watered down when you have a quality standard that everybody adheres to, right? So again, commercialization of the Filipino martial arts is not a bad thing. And I think that those people who are against the commercialization of Filipino martial arts continue to carry these negative connotations, because also those negative connotations also exist, right? They also exist. For sure, there are people who water down the system to be able to make it more palatable to a broader audience. And that's where I'll take that, right? I have, and let me plug this right now. Let me commercialize myself by plugging my website, where I do sell training courses for $15 a training course. So it's called trainwithgn.com. Now, what the heck? These won't save. I'm getting to a point. Stick with me here. Trainwithgn.com. And I spelled with wrong. There we go. Add banner. Yeah, this is where you can find my stuff. Trainwithgn.com. I sell hyper-focused knife modules, right? Hyper-focused knife modules for $15 each. And my philosophy of this is that these are building blocks. Because these are for people, by the way, right here. These are for people who are already into a system, and for some reason they don't want, or because when you learn in a group environment, you learn at the same pace as everybody else, right? And so these are building blocks, which means right away we can get into concealed knife draw. We can get into reverse knife fighting right away, and you stack up these modules at $15 each to either support or to build up your specific set of skills based on your personal needs and requirements. Are these modules watered down versions of Filipino martial arts concepts? Yeah, In a way, these modules are watered down concepts. Another term I might use is repackaged. Another word I may use is reinterpreted. Another word I may use is focused and distilled. So yeah, which is the opposite of watering it down. So yeah, if you go here, you will find watered down versions of Filipino martial arts concepts, or distilled versions or concentrated teachings of Filipino martial arts. But what's the alternative? You engage yourself in learning a brand new system. You start from the very beginning, and then eventually you'll get to the part that I teach here. Well, there is a benefit to that. Absolutely, there's a benefit to that. But there's also a benefit to the idea that because you're a grown-ass man and you have life experiences and experiences in different martial arts, that you can go, oh shit, I want to learn two-strike combinations in the reverse grip, or I want to work on footwork. That's cool, right? That's cool. That makes sense, doesn't it? Hey, the Hastings Dojo, what's up? What's up? No, they are not. I'm not sure what you're referring to. In any case, yeah, there are, and again, with respect to the people who are, they wave their hands in the sky and they're like, why are people ruining Filipino martial arts? I get it. I totally understand it. Should FMA be monetized? I want to hear from you guys. Should the Filipino martial arts be monetized? Can we monetize Filipino martial arts? Should we commercialize Filipino martial arts? Let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the bad. Let me know in the comments below. Again, stream of consciousness, which means please don't hold what I say as concrete and final formed opinions. GM Rodel Dagook, look at this guy. He teaches Filipino martial arts. I believe he has online courses. He sells sticks. He sells training knives. Cool. Anyone got a problem with GM Dagook commercializing and monetizing Filipino martial arts? Anybody? Let me know in the comments. There are some people who have a Filipino martial arts background and then repackage it and rebrand it based on their interpretation of what ought to be prioritized and what ought to be focused on. I'll give you an example. Libre. I misunderstood what Libre was at first. I didn't like it. I didn't understand it. But then I matured a little bit and I had a closer look. And Libre is freaking awesome. I see Filipino martial arts when I see Libre, but I see it through the lens of its founder and what he deems to be important or most important or prioritized in that training. And I think that's cool. Another one. Oh, this is a good one. By the way, shout out to Libre. Shout out to Piper. Shout out to Medusa. I know nothing about Medusa, but for sure it's Filipino martial arts based. Maybe I'm wrong. What else? Guru Dean. He's coming out with something new, right? Blade Technologies. I like it. The Tricom system from Tuhon Jared Wihangi. It's one of its pillars, aside from German and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Western boxing, and Muay Thai, is Pikiti Tersha Kali. And when you look at the knife elements of the Tricom system from the lens of a critic, you'd be like, oh, that's just watered down FMA. No, it's not. You can say it's repackaged. You can say it's interpreted and integrated, but based on the prioritization of needs from law enforcement and military who need to get functional, easily retainable skill sets in a short period of time, then you teach them a certain way, certain things. And that's what
the edged weapon side of the Tricom system, takes from Pikiti Tersha Kali through 200 Wihungi's lens as a SWAT operator and an international special forces instructor. So when people make claims that something is watered down, it comes typically from a perspective of ignorance and jealousy. And the reason I can say this is because I was ignorant and jealous. Here's an example. Boom. Kali Center. I frigging hated Kali Center. I thought Paul Ingram was just another white dude trying to monetize the Filipino martial arts and bastardize it. I hated the fact that he was so successful as search engine optimization that when you type in the Filipino martial arts, Kali Center stuff would be there. The same with the friggin' Budo brothers. The Budo brothers are from these two dudes in the Canadian prairies. Shout out, by the way. You know, a black dude and a white dude with entrepreneurial knowledge, right? They created the Budo brothers, and they're like sapping Filipino martial arts. They're just sapping it. That's what I thought, right? These are thoughts that came through my head. Same for Kali Center. Like, who the hell are these guys? At least I'm Filipino, right? Now, again, we're going to consolidate all of these thoughts that I once had into what I think now. So, Kali Center, some of the videos I watched, you know, kind of border on wanting to appeal to like the tactical crowd, like this knife when it cuts you, blah, blah, blah. And then others are like, all right, guys, well, here's blah, blah, blah.
Well, you guys like that voice?
No, but what that is speaking in specific tones to important demographics that you have, right? So when Kali Center teaches you how to do Heaven 6 and doesn't use proper terminology, it's because he wants to reach people who don't have a lot of Filipino martial arts knowledge or zero Filipino martial arts knowledge, wants to make it accessible so that they enter through his portal, learn through the Kali Center ecosystem, and then one of two things can happen. They can stay with Kali Center and say, this is where it is for me, or they can go, wow, the Filipino martial arts is so broad, I'm going to explore classical Pikiti Tersha Kali. I want to explore Balintawak. And so when I hated on Paul Ingram and Kali Center in the past, that was from a position of jealousy and ignorance. When I hated on the Budo brothers, you know, I love those guys, but I had these thoughts in my head, like, what the hell? These guys are frigging selling like these sticks and doing these modules of Filipino martial arts instructors. I was like, dang, they're sapping it, you know? But then I'm like, no, they're doing good things, because eventually, you know, for example, the Budo brothers have the Pacamo system from GM Felix Ruelas and the Pintado system from GM Oliver Garduce, right? I haven't watched those modules. They seem really cool. But it's not like, boom, they make their money and then that's it for that customer, that client. No, hopefully that customer, that client is in one of two paths, right? One is that they've been in the Filipino martial arts for some time and they want to explore Pakamut or Pintados. And I'm like, that's freaking amazing. That's great. Or they could be somebody new to the Filipino martial arts. And then after they digest that content, they're like, wow, cool. What else is there? Or they could be like, whoa, I got to find GM Royles or GM Garduce, which is freaking incredible. Why? Because it's one more individual in the Filipino martial arts ecosystem exploring this art that we all love. And whether or not they stick with that system, that instructor, it doesn't matter. Hopefully it triggers a journey, right? And so this is also why a rising tide raises all ships. You guys have heard of this saying, right? There's no sense in being jealous, and if you find yourself with like negative thoughts about it, like just give it some honest reflection, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, we got a comment here. I was too, bro. I was a purist at one time too because I was jealous. I got over it a long time ago. Yeah, sure. I this is cool. It's great to hear from you. You know, and I hear this all the time from people, and this is where, again, stream of consciousness. Don't hold me to this, but this is where I'm kind of like, what the fudge, bro? When people in Filipino martial arts say, oh, I prefer to stay small, or I don't want to be a social media influencer, or I don't want to monetize my Filipino martial arts. But where do I get to know this from them? On Facebook, on their Facebook feed, in a forum. So one way or other, I think we are all bound, most of us, 99.9% of us are all bound by wanting to share and spread the Filipino martial arts, whether that is to your nephew and your small background group, whether that is to the world. We are bound together by this desire to share what we know, to share our journey, and to spread the Filipino martial arts. Maybe spreading the Filipino martial arts has a more focused intention, which can be deemed as a selfish intention. Oh, you only care about Pikiti Tershkali. You only care about Balintawak. Perfectly fine. I think it's perfectly fine, man. I think it's perfectly cool. But should FMA be monetized? 1000%. Not only should it be monetized, it should be commercialized. You know, let's look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Let's look at Jiu-Jitsu as an example. Is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu monetized? Duh. Yes. Probably the most profitable martial art in the world right now. Maybe. Is it commercialized? Yes, 1000%. By virtue of this level of exposure, scrutinization, and examination, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is going to flourish forever, for a long, long time. And guess what? If there is a Jiu-Jitsu dojo that has been around for 100 years in a small village in Japan, or Valetudo Academy in a small gym at the foothills of the favelas in, Rio, Sao Paulo. The likelihood of a tourist, a foreigner, a practitioner finding those places and visiting those places becomes exponentially higher, right? And so if there is a Filipino martial arts master in some small barangay in the Philippines, the likelihood of somebody finding and learning from that individual is exponentially higher if more people can find an appreciation for the Filipino martial arts, right? So that's it. I think that's it. Have I missed anything, guys? Have I missed anything? I think that there's just a whole bunch of jealousy out there. From people who attempt to make a living from the Filipino martial arts. And it's I think a lot of these people like to propose some noble intention, You know, we want to keep Filipino martial arts pure in small backyard groups where the grandmaster can barely afford for his daily necessities. That is a true Filipino martial arts. A true Filipino martial arts system cannot exist unless the grandmaster is living below the poverty line. That's what the fuck they're saying. So stop that shit. Makes no sense. And again, there are plenty of examples of grandmasters of phenomenal skill, knowledge, wisdom, who have found that balance of maintaining the integrity of their art, which is also a derivative of a more pure system, right? Let's be clear. Tabuada Balintawak is a derivative of Balintawak, right? Now, is Tabuada Balintawak pure Balintawak? No. It's pure Tabuada Balintawak, which by virtue of his efforts is now going to be a pure system. It's a derivative that has become pure. How does that work? You're crazy. I love it. I gotta come up with a system name. You know, I was thinking about calling it. I don't know if it sounds kind of. I'll tell you my personal philosophy in the Filipino martial arts. Right. I think that it's built into all of us. I think this knowledge of how to smash with a stick or a sword, I think it's inherent. I think it's in our DNA. And my job as an instructor, a teacher, a coach, is to remind you of things you already knew how to do. Because we were all once great stick fighters as children. And so that's my philosophy. And so I borrow and steal and am inspired by different systems. You know, I take the lutang and retirada and baksak concept from Calis Illustrissimo, and I harmonize it with Pikiti Tertia footwork and maneuvering strategies, right? I take some of the Balintawak close range and also the Puño Mano from FCS Cali. I take drills from Estocada de Campo because there is a string, a thread that binds them all. And I look at a student. I have a student, for example, who's very tall, right? And he's been doing Wing Chun for a long time. And so when he stick fights, he's like in a cage trying to stick fight through the cage, very compressed, very compact. But I think because of our built-in DNA, it's in him. So I have to extract and I have to remind him of things he already knows. And so I have a bunch of drills to be able to free him up from this Wing Chun tendency to just be close in center line, right? Not to say that's bad. That has a purpose. It's just, I'm talking about Filipino martial arts right now. So anyway, what I was going to name my system was like Primal Knowledge Kali. PKK. But I don't know. But that's kind of what I want to. If I were to create a system, which by the way, I'm trying to codify. I find it very difficult because I'm also in the experimentation phase, right? Like the other day, I had a crew, Anthony, teach the most fundamental Puño Mano drill from FCS Cali, right? And maybe we don't do it exactly like Tuhan Ray and how high level FCS guys do it, but I get the spirit of it. I get what it's meant to teach you. And so I am now integrating the fundamental FCS Puño Mano drill with a 4-count Sinawali, with break in, break out, and Pikiti Tersha, which is a 3-count fencing line, which can be a 2-count. I'm integrating that with the Sabayan Koldemama platform and Sembrada with Hubad. It all sounds very complicated, right? It sounds like, oh my God, I got to learn all of these drills. But no, you actually only need to learn one of those drills and then guide students into remembering things they already knew. Because if I hit you with a backhand thrust, you're going to swat it. Is that a luwak? What is that? What is that called? Right? And so, yeah, I wanted to call my system Primal Knowledge Kali because, again, I believe it's built into us. We were all great sword fighters and stick fighters when we were children, and we lost it because we trained too much and other shit, and we grew up. Yeah. I think it's time that I do another jealous and ignorant Filipino martial arts instructor impression, huh? What is that? What you call that, huh? That is not the old way. That is not the way we do it here in the Philippines. Just kidding. I'm gonna get in trouble, man. I'm gonna get those KI and Pikiti douchebags after me again. God, why do I say these things? It's like I want to attract. Maybe this is Clive. I'm gonna put that. Maybe this is. Oh my God. Maybe I say these things for attention. Oh, he's doing that for the clickbaits. Huh? I'm not falling for that. That Paulo, huh? He's not even a skill. That Paulo guy, huh? He is a pretender. That guy does not know how to fight with a stick. Look at that. Look at him missing the overhook with that knife. Oh, tangina. That guy is a shit. Look at him. Oh, he tried to do cadena royal, but puta, he missed, huh? Me? I don't miss. Putang ina. Look at him. Oh, tingnan mo. Got hit with angle 1. Putang ina. He called himself a teacher. What a piece of shit that Paulo is, man. That guy, all he wants to do is make the monies. Fuck that guy. He does not know anything. All right, fuck, whatever, man. You know what I've done, though? I believe. First of all, I've learned a lot of lessons recently. I've been examining post-fight interviews. I've been watching great athletes and great fighters and how they communicate. And I think I've been a little self-deprecating, a little bit too much. I need to pat myself in the back now and then, right? Like, I don't think anyone has gotten people to just have a look at Filipino martial arts more than I have. I'm not saying it's good Filipino martial arts. I'm not saying I'm the best first entry, but I think I've gotten the most. Like, probably in the hundreds of millions of views, people watch Filipino martial arts through videos I've made, right? Through Markaida, Wihungi, Fred Mastro, all, like you saw all the people that I've worked with, man. You know how many videos I fucking made in the Filipino martial arts? And again, I'm not saying I'm the fucking best at it. Heck, I think I suck, man. Like, I'm no good. Don't learn from me. Don't learn the Filipino martial arts system from me. Oh shit, am I going to do it? I'm like a Filipino martial arts conceptualist, right? Like, you can't learn Balintawak from me. I don't know a grouping system. I don't know the Lakan requirements, which is the most basic rank in Pikiti Tersha. Like, I got to review that. I don't know. I don't even know if Calis Illustrissimo has ranks. I don't know nothing. Nothing. But I get people at least interested in Filipino martial arts. And hopefully they find the right Filipino martial arts system and the right master for them. And there are many good ones, man. There are some people, like, I'll give Tuhan Jack and the Pikiti Tersha International a shout out. Do you know that I do stuff in stick fighting and I just show it to Tuhan Jack and he's like, well, Paulo, No, that's not a good Tuhon Jack impression, but he's just very cerebral. So
This is the way Tuhon Jack talks from now on. Actually, Paulo, that was Sagita's 4 verse 12 from the Gospel of Bill.
no, but you know what I mean? Like, I'll do like a combination, technical combination, and he'd be like, "Yeah, that's from the Dirty Dozen, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Frick, go learn Pikiti Tersha from PTI. Learn it from Tuhon Jack. Like, I teach you everything. Not me. Don't learn Pikiti Tersha from me. I'd be terrible. I'd be getting you to... Okay, here's how I would teach Pikiti Tersha. This is my method of teaching Pikiti Tersha, and I've actually employed this in my students. And hopefully one day I can show you how quickly they progress. Day one, sparring with foam sticks, right? Give them a baseline. And then, what did I teach them right away? Fuck. No, because we started with knife. What did I do stick right away? Oh yeah, I got them to run doing full swings. Like, I'm just like, run. Okay, here's an angle 1, here's an angle 2, angle 3, angle 4. Here's a tri-V combination. I want you guys to line up. When I say go, I want you to run and do that thing that I just said. And you should have seen it. They look like baby giraffes. Just learning how to walk. Like, what the hell are we doing? But after a while, they could at least get a lunging angle 1 and a lunging angle 2 down. And I'm like, stop right there. Just do that. This is how I would teach Pikiti Tersha Kali. I would teach him the concepts and the principles that make Pikiti Tersha Kali a good fighting system as far as the Filipino martial arts goes. And then I will begin to teach them the basics and fundamentals of them. It's in reverse. I teach Pikiti Tersha in reverse, right? Number 1, let's find out what we can do. Number 2, how can we improve on those things? And then number 3, we can learn all the terminology, all the drills and all that shit afterwards, which is an honest interpretation of how I learn and how I continue to learn. I can fight, and if you see me fight, a stick fight, I can make it look as if I am doing pure Pikiti Tersha Kali. And then I'll transition, and then I'll look like a Kalis Illustrissimo fighter. And then I can transition and look like a Balintawak fighter, right? I can do that. And it's not because of like the shallow level mimicry, because I've watched videos and I know how to mimic it. It's because I've gotten my ass kicked trying to do those things. Guru Joe Apostol, Mark Medeiros beat the shit out of me while we were trying to do Balintawak sparring. You know what I mean? Like, Vikings and Americans have beaten the crap out of me doing Tersha fighting, right? Like, I've had my hand broken by Fabrizio because he smashed it with a dull machete. I've sparred Sean Zerger with steel, right? And so I've come up with my own way of learning for myself, and this is how I'm going to teach my students. Authentic to how I learn. And if they can't learn from that, or if they want to learn a founding system, and by the way, I give credit. My students will tell you, right? Like, when I say this is a Puño Mano drill, it's from Tuhon Ray Dionaldo, FCS Kali. This is Guru Anthony. We learned from Guru Sean Tyler, all the way down to Ernie Lake in Kentucky, right? I was doing Estocado de Campo drills. I mentioned my inspirations by name, and I honor that system in that way. Yeah. Fuck, I've been talking a lot. Let me hear what you guys have to say. Jeez, Rubio. You are such a bullshitter, Paulo, huh? All that blah, blah, blah. You fucking influencer, you. Clive Turner. I honestly get pissed when people hear jiu-jitsu and think Brazilian. I love to tell people Japanese came first by 100 years. But the BJJ guys learned marketing whilst the Jap jiu-jitsu guys sat on their honor and purity. I'll tell you what, though. I bet there's a lot more people studying Japanese jiu-jitsu because of the Brazilian guys. Huh? How about giving some thanks to the marketing engine that is Brazilian jiu-jitsu? Think about it. Who the hell would be doing Japanese jiu-jitsu these days if it weren't for the Brazilians? This is what I mean. This is what I mean, bro. Thank God for Brazilians. The Japanese jiu-jitsu community should be like, thank you, Brazilian jiu-jitsu community. Thank you. Okay, I'll give you my interpretation of how a Japanese jiu-jitsu student sounds like. Yeah, it's like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, except we punch and we use weapons. It's true. And there's a good and bad. There's a good and bad involved in that. Right? Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I mean, okay, I also hear from elitist Brazilian jiu-jitsu. A real Brazilian jiu-jitsu, we have a striking, we have kicking, we have punch. I get it. But the more you try to do, the less you become good at, fewer things. And if you look at a boxer, they got like 5 moves, bro. That's why they're fucking the best at punching. Because they don't got to worry about hubud and all that other crap. And it's also why, like, I fucking hate double stick and espada y daga. I hate them. They're nonsense. They're garbage. But there you go again, huh? Saying that bullshit stop. What do I mean? Double stick is garbage. Espada y daga sucks. It means I suck at it. I love exploring it for artistic self-expression, personal growth, things, all that crap. But it's not really for me. Like, if I were ever to, like, I've sparred and I suck at it. Why do I suck at espada y daga sparring and double stick? It's because I've primarily focused on single stick and single knife. Simple as that. I'm pretty good at single stick, right? Pretty good at it. Pretty good at single knife sparring because I focused on it. And within that realm, I freaking love being a pretty little fairy on the outside, doing sophisticated, beautiful movements with my stick, tapping people in the face, not getting hit. And I love clinch fighting with a stick. I love it. But that's what I focus on. Anyway. But yes, okay, I get it. I get it, man. I get why you would be pissed, Clive. Okay? But this is not about the Japanese. This is about the Filipino. Just kidding. Datu. Maybe that's why Remy Presses called it the art within your art, followed by an improvised line and says, I didn't know you knew that. Yeah. I love it. The first time I heard Datu Kelly Warden do a Filipino accent, I was like, oh shit, this man, by the way, I listen, it's totally cool. Do the Filipino accent. I think we've gotten too fucking politically correct, right? Here's the only thing I ask. Make it a good Filipino accent. Because the Filipino accent is fucking hilarious. I love it. It's not a very sexy accent, in my opinion. Hey, girl, huh? You want to come back to my apartment and do the thing like that? It's not a sexy accent at all. But it's ours, and I love it. Forgive them for they know not what they do. That is a right man, Michael Carriaga. Tim Tamarao. Tim Rivera. Probably partially for attention and partially to draw the poison out. Yes. Let me tell you something about me, guys. Ever since I was a little boy, I loved attention. I was always Mom, look at me. Dad, look what I'm doing. I was one of those kids. And then in high school, I did improv acting. We were the national improv champions. I was a 2-time regional champion and a 1-time national champion at improv. We would literally be on a stage performing in front of an audience, doing improvisation. National champion at that. I thrive under that kind of pressure. I like it. Like, even when I fight, stick fighting, I enjoy it more when I'm surrounded by people watching me, because I love I love that energy, man. Like live theater, live sports, anything live, where if you fail, there's no hiding it. If you make a mistake, this is why I love this podcast and why I do this stream of consciousness stuff. There is a kind of, like, think about it. Like when a boxing match is televised. I'm not comparing myself to, like, the Mayweather Pacquiao fight, but can you imagine expressing your craft against another human being with all of these cameras watching you in slow motion, right? The people criticizing everything that you do, right? I love that. I love that. So when I'm not trying to do Filipino martial arts under some grand, altruistic, noble lens. Let me bring up Tim's. There we go. No, Filipino martial arts is a stage for me, guys. I want to perform on this stage. I want to show that I am willing to step up with the cameras rolling, man, and do a live Carenza where I suck and get into a stick fight where I could get absolutely demolished and dominated. I think that's important, man. I think that's super duper important. And so the whole social media thing for me, yeah, absolutely. Like there is a self-centered element to it. There's a narcissistic element to it. There's a selfish element to it. Those are all interpretations of what I do, for sure. But by having those things, right, by enjoying the stage, by enjoying the attention, seeing the Filipino martial arts as a stage, as an audience, as a theater, where I can say, hey, this is my art. This is what I've done with this. This is my performance. Please watch it. I think there should be more of that, to be honest. And yeah, absolutely. And I'm not, when people tell me, like, some dickhead from India was like, we got into a little online argument, and he's like, peddle your wares somewhere else. Like, peddle your wares. Oh, okay. This guy thinks I'm just fucking selling shit. What an ignorant fuck. But I am selling shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm selling the value of my experiences. I'm selling what I've learned. I have affiliate links. I have promo codes. My videos are monetized. I take that money. Here's what I do with the money that I earn. I go to the bank. I ask for $5 bills, which is our smallest paper currency here in Canada. I stack them all up, and then I shower myself naked with it. That's what I do with the money that I earn. Then I'm like, Paulo, you're so good. And I rub my money on it. Like, you're so good at what you do, Paulo. Oh my God. Yeah, that's what I do. No, I pay for my bills. I got 2 kids. I got fucking bills to pay, motherfuckers. Right? My kid's about to go to college. My daughter likes ice cream sandwiches. I gotta pay. I'm a dad, motherfucker. So yeah, let me peddle my wares. Trainwithgn.com. You want to learn some watered down bullshit Filipino martial arts? Go there. But if you fuck, you know what's gonna happen? Some critic is like just gonna snip that portion out, and it's gonna be like, see, I told you. And there's gonna be a clip of going, hey, I want to bathe in my own money. Go there for watered down Filipino martial arts. Shit. Hey, but that's the risk we take as stage performers on this beautiful, beautiful stage. Beautiful Filipino martial arts stage. But I guess that's why people hate it, I guess, right? Fucking idiots like me. We get to have a fucking platform. I'm so sorry for swearing. I'm sorry. But yes. Bro, you're almost everywhere from what I see. Seriously. Yeah. Well, this is my life, man. This is my life. Like, this is part of my job, talking to you fuckers at noon on a Friday. What are we doing here? Do we not have lives? Sorry. Different time zones. I know. A lot of you guys work from home also from COVID. But this is my passion. I'm so passionate about Filipino martial arts. I freaking hate Filipino martial arts sometimes, but that's part of being passionate about it. And yes, and you're going to see more of me, like it or not. You know, I don't think I've ever met anyone in person relating to the Filipino martial arts that kind of misunderstood me. But, you know, as the Grand 200 Pikiti Tersha once shared with me, and then I later found out that he stole it from one of my favorite philosophers, I believe. Grand 200 was like, to be great is to be misunderstood. So this is why I say shit like, you know, this is why I poke like Calis Illustrissimo douchebags. Partly for fun also, because I get riled up. I get riled up too. What am I saying? Justin Gilead. It just seems like success, especially financial success, is penalized. I get it. No one wants a McDojo, but is being below the poverty line an indicator of skill? That's equally ridiculous. Boom. I don't know who the hell you are, Justin Gilead, but it's true. It's true. There are, oh my God. It's true. It's true, bro. When somebody finds a Filipino martial arts instructor in the Philippines, living below the poverty line that no one has found, what's the immediate and default conclusion? Oh, he must be good, huh? Maybe he fucking sucks. Maybe he's garbage. Just because you find somebody who has been doing Filipino martial arts that no one else has found, it doesn't mean they're good. It could mean they suck. One of my favorite things that I say is that neither popularity nor obscurity are guarantees of quality. You guys can quote me on that. Neither popularity nor obscurity are guarantees of quality when it comes to Filipino martial arts, right? When you see a super popular Filipino martial arts instructor, doesn't mean they're good. Doesn't mean they're shit either. And when you see a Filipino martial arts instructor that no one has known about, doesn't mean they're good. It could mean that they're shit. So stop with this. I think you know what it is. I think Filipino martial artists like to compare each other's experiences, like who got to hang out with Guru Inasanto more and when. Oh, I trained with Tatang directly. Yeah, motherfucker, as a tourist years ago. That week. Who the fuck? Like, what the hell? People like to compare their experiences, man. You know, I learned directly from Tuhon Philip. Okay, so did a lot of people. But people in Montreal probably get the best of him and more of him. That's just the reality of things, right? But it's like, why compare these like fleeting moments of interaction with these great instructors? By the way, just because you train with Guru Inasanto, just because you went to a camp with Tuhon Philip or Tuhon Jared or Tatang Illustrissimo, it don't mean you're good. You could be a dumb student, right? We like to look at this. All of my certificates are blurred. Let me unblur them just to show you what kind of yeah, man, it looks like I'm showing off, right? Looks like, look at all my certificates. I have one certificate. I have one certificate. And I didn't even ask for it, but I am honored to receive it. Yeah, these aren't certificates. You see them? Ooh. That's what I'm proud of. That's my gold. Let me unblur this shit for you guys. Shabamskis. Yeah, there we go. Should take you a tour of that one day. That's an NSI poster. It's a commissioned artwork of Instructor Zero and Doug Marcaida. Is my golden play button. That is from Instructor Zero's first ever signing. Yeah, a booth signing. What else is there? This is from call sign 66, a sniper precision shooting organization here in Canada. Shout out Miles and Nate and the other call sign 66 guys. That's from HR1 with Ryan Hoover. First, that's actually HR2. I wasn't there for the first one. That's the first one that was the only one I was part of. Yeah, all this other cool stuff. There's from Doug and Bastien when they did a booth signing, and some important patches that represent particular moments. That they're actually commendation from the lieutenant commander and the commander of the Formosa Special Forces unit in Poland. Yeah, I trained Formosa, bro. We'll talk about that another day. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right, Justin. It seems like success, especially financial success, is penalized. I get it. No one wants a McDojo, but it's being. And again, fuck, we need more Filipino martial arts McDojos, man, because some of y'all hardcore, purist Filipino martial arts instructors fucking suck. You guys suck at getting new students. You guys suck at getting people to love the art. You know how many. Here's the thing, right? Some purists, some people who claim to want to spread the Filipino martial arts and spread it in like some old school way, don't realize, you know how many people you've turned off to the Filipino martial arts that I've turned back on? Fucking countless. You know how many messages I get on Instagram that's like, oh, I trained with this instructor at this system and I just couldn't stand it. They were talking shit about other people. They were doing this, and that. And then I saw your videos and I was like, oh, I picked up a stick again. Cool. And now that person is looking for a Pakiti Tersha instructor in his area or a Balintawak instructor in his area. Just because I was like, yo, you can study Filipino martial arts under your own terms and conditions, man. Like you can do it for art. You can do it for exercise. You don't need to do exactly what that instructor said, what it was all about, and all that shit. All right. Filipino martial arts for me is about freedom. The art of the living past in modern times. Filipino martial arts is about progress and evolution and adapting to the environment and your current and immediate capabilities, intentions, training goals, wants, and needs. You know what I mean? That's what Filipino martial arts is. And this is kind of what makes Filipino martial arts kind of hard, a difficult art to preserve, is because by the very nature of the art, we're meant to evolve and assimilate. I know another term. It's got bad connotations these days from this woke culture. That's what FMA is. All right, I'm just going to go through this. Later, bro. Stay primal and funnier than tae. Tae means poop. Okay. Man, have you experienced SMF version of PTK? Any thoughts on the system? Yeah, I don't like it. But that doesn't mean, okay, look, I'm not the authority in FMA. You asked my thoughts on it. I'm not a big fan of SMF. Now, are there good instructors who are SMF affiliated? Fuck yeah, there are. I've seen them. But it's not for me, man. It's not for me. Yeah, I like to spar. I like full contact sparring. For the most part, it's distance sparring. I think it's too I think even SMF is like Latin for some militaristic thing, and I just think like that's a singular line. So I'm not a fan, although I have respect for every Pikiti Tersha organization because some people love it, and more power to them, right? More power to them. Yeah, they move very crisp, very agile. I like that. What else? I just, you know what? Like, it's the same problem that I have with Psyoc sometimes. Is like they try to dress. I don't know. They just try to be too tactical, too black, And I think, which is funny because I like the Pikiti Tersha Tactical Association. And if you rewind back to the beginning of this, I talk about how terms like tactical and influencer are bastardized and cheapened, but they're nonetheless accurate for when they're accurate. And I'm not trying to compare PTTA with SMF by any means. But this is not for me. That's all I'm saying, by the way, right? You asked if what I thought of it. I don't like it. That was that question. Yeah. But I also, let me say this. I don't know much about the system. So take my opinion with a grain of salt. Always. I don't know. Yes, where's that? Magandang gabi from Calamba, Laguna. Magandang gabi din po. Wow, Laguna. Very nice. Is that AI gray or Al gray? Did I just speak with a robot? One beer. Getting beat up and sparring is a good way to learn. Having it on video is a great tool to review. Yeah. Oh man. Well, why don't people are just triggering me today? So you triggered a thought in me, right? When people talk a lot of shit in Filipino Martial Arts Forum, I'm like, all right, just show me the thing you're talking about, bro. Right? Show me your sparring videos. And then they say, yeah, I'll get it for you later. And when they do, it's usually not even sparring. It's just some, stylized demo. And then some people are like, yeah, I don't film my sparring session. I focus on sparring. And I'm like, you moron. You realize you're pretty much throwing away the greatest tool you have other than personal experience from that moment by not filming it and not reviewing it and not using it as an engine to reverse engineer shit you need to work on. If you're not filming your sparring sessions and you're not watching it 30 times afterwards, what the hell are you doing it for? I mean, cool, you have that one experience, but it's not for some narcissistic, self-aggrandizing kind of purpose to post on social media, which I do. No, it's for review. And here's another thing. If you spar with me and it's being filmed, you can be sure of two things. One, if I get a beautiful moment out of that, I'm posting that shit. But I always keep it balanced because undoubtedly you will have a beautiful moment from that. So I post my beautiful moment when I get the best of you. And then I post a video of a beautiful moment when you get the best of me. And then if it's okay, I'll post the entire thing so that there's no lies, But I've done some gorgeous, gorgeous things in the Filipino martial arts when it comes to, full contact or real contact stick fighting. And I want to share that. I want to share that. It's fucking beautiful, man. It's not like, who gets offended by that stuff is people who talk like they know, like they're the best at everything. Anyone who's honest about the Filipino martial arts will have no problems broadcasting their stick fight or whatever. There was one when I fought Tuhon Jared, and I made a video, and I asked him, is this cool to post? Without hesitation, he's like, yeah, post that thing. Because he's honest. I hit Tuhon Jared. Let's leave it at that. He didn't hit me. No, he didn't. But you know what I mean? Like, if you're honest with this and you've still got the capacity to spar, it's cool, man. Everybody gets hit. Everybody gets hit. Invite that Indian fella to the next PTTA conference. No, we gotta stop doing that, man. We gotta stop doing that. But you know what? If I did invite that Indian fella to the PTTA, which conference? Oh, okay. You didn't specify which conference. Yeah. Yeah. If I did. Okay, let me be honest with you, right? There was a time when I thought the European conference produced the best stick fighting matches. I gotta take that back. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was because of COVID. Maybe it was the PTTA USA. Those fucking guys gave me a run for my money. Not to say that PTTA Europe, it just depends. It depends who's there, man. But and of course, PTTA Asia Conference, which is happening soon. Actually, that's got good caliber of fighters. But reigning champ for me, as far as what I found personally difficult or challenging, PTTA North America, PTTA USA. Those guys are some freaking beasts, man. They're beasts, bro. But they're nice beasts, and they're very welcoming beasts. What's this? The Jollibee. The Jollibee one is the best. Which one is that? I'm looking forward to trying Arnis when I relocate down to Batangas City later this year. Good, try it. I'm Batangueño, by the way. My family is from a village called Puri, near the Lipa San Antonio border-ish. What's this? So far, only trained hand-to-hand arts, but looking forward to it. Our karate dojo in Calamba just turned 75. Wow. Amazing. Wow, that's great. Oh, you grew up in Prince George, BC. Okay, cool. How about we end this? Yeah, let's circle back. Thank you for joining me. I was able to hash out some thoughts. I'm wondering if there's anything else that I might have left out about the commercialization and people monetizing Filipino martial arts. Have I insulted everybody already? If I missed you, I'm sorry. I'll get you on the next one. Fuck. So yeah. Once again, just to recap, if I were to extract a clip from this, I'm a content creator. That's what I do for a living. That's what I love doing. I love telling stories through video. I've done it for consumer electronics, fashion industry, tactical security and defense industries, now martial arts industries. I've told stories for like rappers and Formula One race teams, told stories for Nintendo and Netflix, and I was making good money, and then the Filipino martial arts gripped my soul, and so I defocused on those other things and focused on Filipino martial arts, and I focused on martial arts, and I thought I'd use the Filipino martial arts as the lens with which I view the entirety of martial arts from. It's been an incredibly rewarding experience, although I've lost a buttload of money. It's been rewarding, and so when I try to monetize my efforts, it's so that I can maintain this passion. I can continue to do it. I can continue to make videos while providing for my family. And if that's going to be vilified and hated on by some people, fuck you. Fuck you. I will say this unapologetically. If you've got a problem with somebody trying to make a living from their passion and you think that your way is the absolute correct way, fuck you. Unapologetically, I say this, all right? Unapologetically. If you're going to vilify anyone who makes a living from their passion, be it lawn care, tomatoes, race car driving, or the Filipino martial arts. Fuck you forever. You suck. You're the problem. All right. There's a clip. That's the clip. That's the one that I'm going to post on Instagram. So that's it. What's this? One more. Will you be attending the next PTTA conference this year, 2023? Would be great to train. Which one? In the US? Yes, I will be there. I think. I'll be in the Philippines. Oh, in the Philippines. Yeah. Yeah, it would be an honor. Yes, I would love to. Yeah. Nicola, when we're both in the Philippines, remind me of this moment. I'm going to give you a high five and a big hug, and I'll buy you a beer, and then we can go train. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. It would be an honor for me. It's so great, by the way, when I see you guys in person. It's whether or not we started from a disagreement or agreement. I love meeting you guys. Sometimes it's a little tense, but not for very long, right? I'm just like, yo, man, just give me a hug, give me a high five. Let's go hash it out. Let's go grab a beer. Let's go talk. If you want to spar, we can spar. I'm down. I'm down. There you go. Oh, who missed the Dog Brothers gathering of the pack? Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's great, man. I want to go. I want to go to one. They seem like seems like a really great time. Seems like a great time. Get after it. Do we do love? Get after it. What we do? You love? What we do? Hell yeah. Yeah. This is Bowie. Puri. Pink robe outro. Y'all ready? Yo, I don't know. I'm chilling. You know what? Let's just hang out. You guys have any questions? This can be an ask me anything thing. Again, actually, no. I was gonna go film some stuff. I was gonna go edit some stuff. Yeah, this is kind of what's cool. What I love about what I do, and what I am so grateful for, is I have mostly guys. Mostly, I have control of my time. I have control of my time. Like, this is what I'm ultimately the most grateful for. I have an electric scooter, and then when my daughter gets off from school, I'm gonna hop on that scooter and pick her up, and then we're gonna hang out for a little while. This morning, I could have edited some videos ahead of time, ahead of a deadline. What I actually did was I watched some YouTube videos on certain Filipino martial arts instructors. What else did I do? I was just reading. I was scouring Facebook for Filipino martial arts inspiration, answering the messages that I have on Instagram and on Facebook. Just communicating with the community. That's what I did. I have control over that time, and I've mentioned that I've lost revenue in exploring Filipino martial arts, but I would not trade all the money in the world. Like, I think I just saw like a Mark Cuban clip saying, I'd rather make $50,000 a year working for myself than $750,000 working for someone else who doesn't blah, blah, blah. And he went on and on and on and on. And that's I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I get to make a living and have Filipino martial arts to be a central part of that, right? By the way, go to trainwithgn.com to check out short, hyper-focused knife training modules catered to your specific training goals and needs. What a sellout. Rubio, you are a sellout. Hey, I'll be right back. I'm just going to go grab some coffee, and then I'm going to share my website with you and talk about some other stuff. If you got any questions, drop them below. Ask me anything, life, Filipino martial arts, opinions about people. I'll be back, guys. It's a live feed. I need coffee. I'm back. All right, let's start over. Excuse me. So, does anybody want to ask me who my top Filipino martial arts influences are? Can somebody comment that? Like, hey, who are your top 5 Filipino martial arts influences? That way, when I post it on Instagram, it can seem like an authentic, organic moment. Come on, somebody. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna prolong this because I'm still hashing out some thoughts. I'm trying to get that creative drive to film something. What was I gonna do? I was gonna show you guys my website. It's not gonna take long. Not gonna take long at all. Trainwithgn.com. Pretty dope, actually. It's not bad. Just make sure I get all my pornography tabs closed. I'm just fucking with you guys. Here we go. Boom. Oh, there we go. Hey. How do I separate this so that I can see the website, but also, okay, did I mess it up? Did I mess it up? No, it's still there. There's my website, guys. Check it out, everybody. Bili na po. Okay, there we go. Let me readjust that. Knife training. These knife courses were created to develop very specific skills that allow you to stay focused. Combine the modules to develop your unique and specialized skill set. Why do I do that? Why did I do that? Oh yeah, because sometimes when you see these online courses, okay, when you guys buy an online course, how many of you like actually train that stuff? Or here's my question. When you buy an online course, do you watch it all beginning to end first and then you kind of train it? Or I don't know. I know some people, they're collectors of these online courses and they don't even train them. They don't train them. They just watch them and they think they learn it by osmosis. It's a tragedy. And I think that's because sometimes these online courses gives you way too much. Like, there's way too much. Like, where do you even begin? It's like, when your room or your house gets so dirty that you're just like, fuck this. I'm not going to clean today. I'm going to clean tomorrow. You just don't know where to start. Here, you get to pick where you start. Look at that handsome guy, guys. So these are my featured courses. I'll show you the rest of them. Right? 2 strike combinations in the forward grip. What is that? Am I fraudulent? Like, what's the purpose in learning 2 strike combinations in the forward grip? It seems very simple. Anyway, you just have to find out. Rapid knife draw from concealment, 2 strike combinations in the reverse grip. So why are they? It's like sometimes I feel like I'm dissuading people because it's like, I can come up with my own 2 strike combinations in the reverse grip. I can come up with my own 2 strike combinations in the forward grip. You probably can. But yeah, these modules are like hyper focused. Those are scary. Maybe I need to change those thumbnails. I don't want it to be scary. But these are the modules that I've created so far. Foundations of thrusting in the forward grip. 2 strike combinations in the forward grip. 2 strike combinations in reverse grip, rapid knife draw from concealment, the foundations, rapid knife draw from concealment, the evolution drills. I did a Sabayan module, and then Gunting, and then submit work. And I'm going to keep building this up, right? If you go to the beginning here, this is really meaningful, right? Like the fact that I don't want you to leave your system. I don't want you to stop training whatever system it is that you're training, but you can jump into train with GN, right? Find a building block and incorporate it into your training. And the thing about it is, like, the mechanics are a small portion of it. I dive deep into attribute development and tactical application. And when I say tactical application, that's relative. I'm not saying like you're going to be a super soldier and you need to tactically apply this in a tactical, super tactical situation. Tactical application is relative to the context, right? Tactical application could be in sport stick fighting. So those modules are, if you just sit through and watch them, you will learn something. But they're designed for you to get your ass up off the couch and do those things that I'm doing. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. But even then, all the modules are $15, so at least you wouldn't have wasted a whole bunch of time or money. I priced it that way. So here's the thing, guys. Like, I priced it at $15 a module. I think it's worth a lot more than that, but I wanted it to be accessible to as many people as possible, and I wanted it to be feasible to start stacking these building blocks, right? But $15 seems cheap, and I want people to get the impression that it must be shit because it's only $15. Those are the kind of things that I thought about when I was monetizing my knowledge. Is like, I want the price to be super accessible. I don't really want to put it on sales or anything like that. I just want, like, here it is. Here's the price, $15 per module. Go stack up your modules. And I hope people train them. May I ask, are you still practicing Call de Mama, Joe? Am I still practicing Call de Mama? Are you kidding me? It's all I do. Sabayan, Call de Mama, it's all I do. When I learn Punya Mano, when I learn Sombrada, when I expand my understanding of Hubad Lubad, I do it under the Sabayan framework. That's all I do. I do it under the Call de Mama framework. Yeah. By the way, Call de Mama, Sabayan, it is a great platform to learn wrestling concepts. Arm drags, Russian ties, single, double leg takedowns from Sabayan. Hand fighting, wrist, elbow, pummeling. Sabayan platform is great for that. Ano tawag mo sa maraming pusa? Ano? Here's the thing. You've been a driving force for the video documentation of FMA, and that it is important, powerful, and a good thing. You have given a lot of us the permission to produce content. So, like all leaders, there's people nipping at your back, but you're leading by example, by being front and center of the world to see and be inspired by. Right on. I give you permission. No, I don't. I know that's not what you meant. I think what Kurt means when I say I give permission for people to produce content is that a lot of people feel like they're not good enough to be producing Filipino martial arts content, or like they haven't earned the right to be producing Filipino martial arts content. But you should. It doesn't matter if you're just starting. It doesn't matter where you are in this journey. You should be producing Filipino martial arts content. You should be sharing it out there for the world to see. It may not be the best example of that system, that technique, that concept, that strategy, but it's your interpretation at this time, which matters. And I've shared my journey from the very beginning. I've shown you the good, the bad, the ugly, my failures, my disappointments, my heartaches. I've shared with you my successes, and I hope and thank you for validating. You know, I hear from people that it's because I was willing to fail on camera that they started making their own content, or so and so. And that's what I'm very happy about, as that's an honor to hear feedback like this from me, guys. It's really meaningful to me. Yeah. Thank you, for real, bro. That's meaningful shit. Get me all teary-eyed. If you enjoy what you do, it's not really work. Keep it up. Hell yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. This is cool. I like this. It's not really even about anything. Where's GM Pogi? I need to spend more time with GM Pogi. I think GM Pogi needs to be out there more. What do you guys think? A lot of people seem to like GM Pogi. You know what I like about GM Pogi is because he has this character, this persona. He's just like in the way that comedians are able to express harsh truths under the protective platform of comedy. I think that's what GM Pogi does. Except I think he's being serious. That's the scary thing. Anyway, I'll talk to GM Pogi and I'll see if he'll come out more. Certainly, we Filipino martial arts need a grandpa like GM Pogi to give us a palo in the butt because we need it from time to time. Cheers, Tristan. Oh, what FMA instructors are my top influencers? Why, thank you for asking. Thank you so much for asking, authentically and genuinely. So somebody posted this on FMA discussion, which, by the way, I'm a huge fan of FMA discussion. And somebody asked for my top 5 FMA influences. And I'm like, there are so many that it would be almost insulting to compose a top 5, right? There's so many people who have influenced me in the Filipino martial arts. Let's start with Don Gula, which you may not know Don Gula. Gary Drake, Kit Asenas, Pach Caballero, Lamont Glass, Jason Jones, so many. Tuhan Philip, Celestino Macachor, Rene Tongson, GM Bobby, Sean Zerger, the guys from Combat Arts, Justin Patricio Fernando, Mark Medieros, Joe Apostol, Ryan Pope. These are guys from the boudoir. So many, so many. All of these people have given me, Coach Danny Terrell, Tuhan Bill McGrath. Holy crap! There's a lot of people. Even somebody like Rosel Mohametano and Oliver Garduce. Man, it never ends, dude. Oh, Johannes running off. Friggin', it's endless, the amount. And again, by composer and Doug Marcaida, even Fred Mastro, all these guys influenced me. Ryan Hoover, you know what I mean? Mick Coop. A lot of people influenced my Filipino martial arts, but I did, with some thought, I composed my top 5. So here's my top 5 people who, and by the way, my top 5 FMA influences, it's not really top, it's top. But 4 of them don't teach Filipino martial arts. So that should say something, right? So, top 5, Tuhan, Jared Wihungi. And then there's Coach Steve Dinamo. If you want to follow these guys, well, if you're on your phone, go ahead. Follow them on Instagram. All right, these are my influences. Tuhan Jared Wihungi. You can go on Instagram. It's at Jared Wihungi. Follow him. Coach Steve Dinamo. That's not his real name, but you can follow him at s.denamo on Instagram. Probably more than anyone, Coach Steve has been most instrumental in developing my skills because I have more hands-on training with him than anybody else. So Tuhan Jared, Coach Steve Dinamo, and this guy named Yeko. You might know him as Instructor Zero. So far we have Tuhan Jared, Steve Dinamo, Instructor Zero. And then, Todd Fossey, really influential. And then Sal Mascoli, which is IDO Tactics on Instagram. And I'll tell you why 4 of them are not Filipino martial arts instructor. So, and I'll speak on each one. Tuhan Jared, by virtue of his skill, knowledge, and character, and for really introducing me into the art of Bikini Tersha Kali, challenging my thinking, allowing me to challenge his methodologies. He and I have conversation. There was a video of me going, well, I don't believe in flow drills, Tuhan Jared. And, he's also, when it comes to teaching the Filipino martial arts, he's the most articulate communicator. For those who don't know, like Tuhan Jared used, as part of his law enforcement career, he was a SWAT operator, but he was also the public relations guy. So, like whenever a bad thing happens in your city, you have that one officer who speaks in front of the camera. So that was Tuhan Jared for Salt Lake City area. And, he speaks like 3 dialects of Filipino. Is a really intelligent and articulate individual and super skilled. Hands down, probably my number 1 influence in Filipino martial arts. Coach Steve Dinamo has an incredible martial arts background. But he's the guy that comes to my house and trains me. And he trains me through the lens of Jeet Kune Do, pancration, boxing, Muay Thai, and Filipino martial arts. And we distill it into these like concepts and these amazing exercises. So he's the one that's been probably single-handedly developed my ability to intercept and my sense of timing. Yeah, Coach Steve Dinamo. And then, the other 3, for example, Todd Fossey, he got me to look, critically into the practices that I was doing, right? And through him, I was able to distill methodologies that were, I was able to determine what kind of training methodologies were more effective than others. It doesn't mean I always chose the most effective training methodology, not by any means, right? Because I balance it with, okay, well, that's the most effective way to learn knife defense, but that's like way too hard right now. I got a back problem, or that's not something I want to train every day. I'll visit that once in a while. So I think I'm going to go with this and a combination of this and that. So he's very data driven. Yeah. So that's really important for a Filipino martial arts student, right? To not ignore the evidence, not ignore the data, and to change your methodologies, based on information, right? And data can be a little bit sterile. So like I said, I mix it up. I don't always adopt the best way to train something, right? And a lot of this is still kind of up for debate, and sometimes science can be wrong, but still super important. The other person, Sal Mascoli, right? This is the guy who teaches me, grit and resilience and stoicism. And we've had some adventures in Las Vegas, man. And just a fine example of a warrior, I believe. He's like my father and my big brother, but at the same time, I feel like we're twins as well, like twin bros. So definitely there. And then finally, a brother that I've had for a really long time now. We've gone through a lot together. Our journey continues. We've been to many countries together. He'll tell you that he saved my life once in Vegas and once in Gdansk in Poland, but it's all lies. That's Instructor Zero. Instructor Zero is somebody who is like supremely, like he is the balance of logic and creativity. And if I could embody me, I think that's who I am. Like we're trying to balance two things that seem contradictory, right? Like innovation and simplicity, right? With creativity and logic. How do you balance those things? And particularly the cognitive brain drills that Instructor Zero comes up with in his field, I have adopted in Filipino martial arts. So these are really incredible influences. And sometimes people might think like, my influence be a figurehead of system A, figurehead of system B, figurehead of system C. And those would be my influences. But no, my influences are people who give me tools to be a better, more analytical thinker so that I can explore the specifics of an art and be able to extract from short, intense bursts of moment things that I find valuable, draw it out of there, boil it down, and create a little boom gem that I can carry with me anywhere. Kind of like, what are those? Infinity stones. So that's why these guys are my influences. So it's not like, I don't, that's why it's unimpressive to me when people say, oh, I trained with X instructor for blah. I don't know, man. It's not impressive. So 4 of my Filipino martial arts influences don't teach me Filipino martial arts directly. Right? Thank you for asking. Sorry, come late. Missed the first part. What have you learned since you started teaching? Oh, I learned. That's a great question, D-Man. You know what I learned since I started teaching? Some people fucking suck at movement. And and that's cool. That's totally fine. But I had a student who couldn't get angle 1s and angle 2s. And I think as instructors, we take for granted that it can be a struggle for students to get the most basic things. And I think a fundamental flaw in Filipino martial arts instruction is when you get so elaborate so quickly right away and then ask people to adhere to the specific way that you do things, it's such a challenge for them. They think they're learning because they see you doing something cool, but it's completely masturbatory on your part. You're trying to impress students, but what you can do without really imparting in them the ability to do those things. And so that's one of the biggest, like I knew that intellectually, but I learned it firsthand. And I've learned how to adapt on the fly. I would go into class thinking, all right, this is what we're going to learn. And I'm like, holy, we learned phase 1 of that thing. And it's a struggle for them. I'm like, stop, pick up sticks. We're dropping knife for now. Because what I'm trying to teach them with the drill I thought we would be doing can be taught more efficiently in a much more simpler drill. So I'm caught between trying to balance teaching them parts of the system and then developing their skills. So if a drill in Pikiti Tertiakali or any other system is meant to develop your sense of timing, but learning that drill is taking too long right now, and I really want to develop their sense of timing, we'll go do something else. I might fucking throw something in the air and I'll be like, you try to hit that, or I'll move, So that's the biggest thing that I learned is that some people really struggle with the most fundamental movements that I have taken for granted as being easy or simple to do. So I'm very mindful of that. Also, another thing is, how some instructors are like, I find it most rewarding when I take somebody who's uncoordinated and then I eventually teach them how to move. Fuck all that. I got no time for that shit. I had one guy who couldn't get it, and I tried my best. And then after trying, I'm just like, you know what? Fuck off. Get out of here. No, I didn't really say that. But again, I think it's an instructor jerk off a little bit to be like, oh, this guy, could barely do this. And now after 10 years of training with me, he can do Sinawali. I'm like, no, I would much rather train people who may not be athletically gifted, but motivated and can learn fast. I would rather train people who are all those things, but also athletically gifted that way, or at least willing to work on it. Right. That's who I would much rather train. I don't have this hero complex that a lot of Filipino martial arts instructors have. Like, I'm not trying to, fucking do all that shit. I mean, that's cool. That's great. Those things happen anyway. Plus, you never know what battles people are fighting, right? So you never know. But I'm not one of those hero complex Filipino martial arts instructors that cater to martial artists with daddy issues. No. And I lean on Coach Greg Nelson for this philosophy. He's like, I, as your coach, am going to care about your progress, but you better care about it a whole lot more, right? I don't care. You know what I mean? I bought a couple 1-hour Shaolin DVDs and trained them alternately. Oh, good. Good for you. Good for you. Good. Will you be doing any more videos with Doug Mercado and Tuhan Jared? You mean them together? Probably not. But hey, the universe is a strange creature. Maybe. But did you like the ones that I made with them? I thought they were good. I made videos with Tuhan Jared and Doug Mercado. You can find them at www.pikiti.university. And I called them Emotional Candy because, you like that name? I made a video series with Jared and Doug. And after I saw it, I'm like, this is emotional candy. You know why? Because they're so complex and sophisticated and beautiful. They're not ultimately practical, certainly not easy to learn, but it makes you feel good watching it. And when you actually do start training it, you will, and if you're critical and you're an analytical thinker, you will extract. Now, you should be able to identify universal principles of leverage, speed, timing, power in them, but it's presented in just like this beautiful way. So I called it Emotional Candy. You can check it out. Pikiti.university. www.pikiti.university. It's called Emotional Candy. One of the coolest things I ever made in the Filipino martial arts. And you got to pay for it to watch it because it's friggin' Tuhan Jared and Doug Mercado and me collaborating on a video. Think we're going to do that? Give it to you for free? You think we are? Tactfully put. I don't know. I don't know what I did. What vape juice are you hitting? 0, 3, or 6? This is a 3 milligram. I actually got to go to the vape shop right after this. There she'd be. Why is it still blurring it? That's crazy. Yeah. But it's so black and dark right now. I need to get new coils. I think I paid $20 for the DVDs. They were actually downloaded. They were pretty intense. Eventually, I got an invite to an Iron Shirt training. Wonderful. What the hell's Iron Shirt training? Chia Bogi needs to have a candid conversation with Master Ken. Yeah. I would love to watch Gia and Pogi meet GT. I can arrange that. I might take a note of this because I think that's really interesting. I think people might enjoy GM Pogi and the Grand 200 Pikiti Tursha talking to each other. I think that could be freaking special. Thank you for that suggestion. I don't know. I never thought of it. Stay tuned. I think GM Pogi and GT might have a conversation. GT's so sharp. At age 85, he's still kind of a sharp thing. Sir, what are your thoughts on self-taught FMA? Okay. Oh, okay. Good. You corrected it. Self-taught FMA. Good, Applesy. What are my opinions on self-taught FMA? I think that somebody self-taught in FMA can absolutely beat the shit out of somebody who's been training it classically for decades. Why do I say these things? So if you're self-taught in FMA, you can absolutely beat the crap in a stick fight of somebody who trained it classically, regularly, under one instructor for years and years and years. And here are the caveats, okay? When I talk about self-taught Filipino martial arts, it doesn't mean that you're all alone, okay? What you need are good training partners who are willing to step into the backyard, into the garage, into the field with you, to pick up some sticks and to train these methods out. Without this, then no, you can't learn FMA in that way. So that's what I mean by that. Now, somebody who is self-taught in FMA, some critics will be like, well, you're going to miss on the nuance, the cultural significance, the deeper understanding. And for the most part, those critics would be absolutely correct, because they make the assumption that the self-taught student is somebody who is shallow and won't put the effort. But again, let's assume the best. Let's say a self-taught Filipino martial artist is somebody who attends an Ivy League university, who knows how to conduct research and is also athletically gifted, and it's also supremely creative, and he's got friends who are willing to test out his theories. That guy can beat the crap out of anybody and outschool anyone in Filipino martial arts knowledge, history, culture. So you can be self-taught, but you need to do it right. Usually the connotation of being self-taught is that it's somebody who wanted to rush through things, somebody who's stupid and lazy and who's missing out on a whole lot. And that's also true in some cases, but it's not always the case. So again, I say like always and never are lies. So always, never say always, never, some shit like that. Right? So just be mindful, right? When somebody says they're self-taught in Filipino martial arts, when you make an assumption and you spar, you could be burned. So yeah, that's my opinion on somebody self-taught. Emotional candy, yeah. Oh, what are my tips and advices for somebody to train by themselves? Okay, listen. This is my number one advice. If you're going to train by yourself, you need to spar and film your sparring material, because it's hard to compose personalized Filipino martial arts drills unless you are intimate with your shortcomings, unless you are intimate with where you suck. A lot of the solo drills that you're going to come up with is either going to be masturbatory or just like general conditioning drills, right? So my tip for anybody who wants to pursue the solo route is to find somebody to spar with safely, film that, and then go, oh my God, I tripped on the grass as I was advancing. That way you can reverse engineer your failures so that you can create solo drills that are specific to you. Another piece of advice is to soak in information from sources other than Filipino martial arts. Okay. I'll give you an example, right? We know that in knife fighting, whatever you want to call it, grip strength is very important, right? Not letting go of this knife is really important. And so who can teach you grip strength better? Filipino grandmaster in the Philippines who's 80 years old, or a strength and conditioning coach licensed by the California State Athletic Commission? Like, who's going to be able to teach you grip strength better? Filipino martial arts instructor who trained 5 systems, or a jiu-jitsu or wrestling coach? So look outside of Filipino martial arts to learn or to enhance your Filipino martial arts skills. That would be my second piece of advice for somebody who wants to train by themselves. I may actually be writing an article about mindful solo training in a pretty prestigious tactical magazine. Maybe if that goes through, who knows? It doesn't matter. It would be nice though. So yeah, that's my advice. If you want to train by yourself, is don't train by yourself all the time. You need to fight. You need to spar. And then beyond that, make sure that you're critically analyzing what you're doing. So I see some things in Filipino martial arts, like a guy might be blindfolded or he might be doing a drill and he's looking away. Doing a drill, Filipino martial arts drill, or closing my eyes, Filipino martial arts drill. And then they'll tell you that they're working on their timing. Okay, well, how can you be working on your timing if your eyes are closed? What are you timing? What they've done is they've gotten complacent and comfortable with their training partners, and their memorization of this drill has been at such a level that they can do it with their eyes closed. So think critically, right? Think critically. If you're doing the same pattern drills over and over and over and over and over, and it's telling you that you're working on your timing, okay, it's not working on your timing, because true timing requires forfeiting control of the thing that you're trying to hit, right? To some degree. I mean, you can put something on a pendulum and then time that hit, but you're only working on that specific timing, not timing, right? You're gaming it. So be careful with, if you're going to do solo training, expand your mind and learn Filipino martial arts from people who don't give a fuck about Filipino martial arts. Cool. I hope that helps. What is this? Thanks. Interesting answer about what you learned. Kind of like when I taught English at a kindergarten in Taiwan, from zero being able to speak. You can see how much they learned. Well, that's interesting. I taught conversational English and business English in Japan, and I wasn't allowed to use Japanese to teach. And I totally get what you meant, right? So much of communication is first that connection. If you don't have that connection with somebody, you can't teach them anything. You can show them, they can mimic, but you ain't teaching them shit. So I totally get that from experience as an English teacher in Japan. I've watched all the Emotional Candy videos. It was amazing. Thank you, GN, but nothing will be better than GM Pogi meeting GT. All right, Nicola, I will remember. And if I forget, remind me, and I'll give you the credit. Yeah. So Nicola, he had the idea of GM Pogi and GT meeting. Okay. Do you have formal education in cinema, film, or something related? And if so, to what level in academia and from where? Yes, I took radio, television, and film broadcasting from the Bell Center of Creative Communications at a Centennial College campus, which is the oldest college in Canada. Yes, I graduated with honors, actually. Honors, because we had an award show. Yeah, so I do have a formal education. I graduated from college doing broadcasting. But it was at a time where we were still encouraged to specialize. So you can be a writer, a director, an editor, a cameraman, you can be a producer. I wanted to be all of those things. And at that time, the internet and YouTube had just really was at its infancy. And so I realized like there's potential here for me to be able to craft my own path and take the specific information that I learned and applied it to the general. That's one of the biggest things I learned in college when it comes to broadcasting is apply the specific to the general and the general to the specific. So if you know how a camera functions and you know if you know how a gun functions, then you can take the specific knowledge from your Glock or from your Canon and transfer it to your Smith & Wesson or to your Nikon camera. And the same thing with Filipino martial arts, right? Applying the general to the specific and the specific to the general. If you know conceptually the objectives of Pikiti Tertia Kali, then you can identify it in Kalis Illustrissimo, and then you can logically, intelligently harmonize those things to suit the specific conditions of who you are, what your intentions are, and your fighting style. Too many people are clones of their masters. And I kid you not, when you see my students fight, they will be fighting and expressing who they are, not who they think I should be. So if you're a clone of your master and you move just like your master, well, congratulations. That's kind of cool, I guess. It's cool. But find yourself in these movements. And that's why sometimes I say, oh, this is a top load. And they're like, no, top load is here. And I'm like, well, I like the top load a little bit out because I'm deceptive and I like to bait. And so you'll often find this. And sometimes I purposefully do it. I showed a failed overwrap on a blade, and my friend did a beautiful counter. You should have heard all the experts about why I failed at it. Actually, a lot of them were good comments. They were absolutely right. But yeah, sometimes I do that, like I'll show something or I'll ask a question I know the answer to because I think it's worth asking that question. Anyway, that's it. Thank you guys. Keep it coming. Hey, I'm really enjoying chilling with you guys. This is a 2-hour affair so far. I feel so stimulated mentally. Thank you for your questions. Please keep asking questions. I'm happy to answer them. I just love hanging out, man. Doing Filipino martial, but I got to bounce pretty soon. I do have to film. So today, you know what I was going to film? I was going to film a module. This is going to be super hypocritical of me because I was going to film a module on how to flow. And then do it through Carenza. And I once thought that no one can teach you how to do Carenza. But I've since learned that you can be guided to Carenza. And again, going back to my principles, that I'm here to remind you of things you already know. And that's my teaching style. I'm here to remind you of things you already know. So I was going to film that module. I found that a lot of people hide behind their speed. And I found that a lot of people are so rigid, man. Like even when they do Carenza, it's so rigid. And there's a benefit to flow, to flowing. And I want to touch on mental flow as well, which is really, really important in Carenza. But gracefully moving, I think it's super important. Kurt, self-taught, another way to say guided exploration for skill specificity and preferences. Another way to say it is jerking off. I was trying to respond to your question about pricing online courses, but I had to split it up. Okay, go. What's GBRS? That sounds familiar. Grip matters. By the way, a few things, right? If you're a Filipino martial artist, yeah, grip strength is super duper important. And deployment. People don't train knife deployment. I don't fucking get it. Are these people walking around with their knife out? By the way, I'm going to show you a module that I created. Maybe I'll just show you some videos of it. But one of my most popular modules on trainwithgn.com, I should remove that. This is kind of becoming everything I do has a somewhat of a self-serving. We already talked about this purpose, right? Here, we'll go to training modules, and then we'll go to, what was it? What were we talking about? Oh yeah, rapid knife draw from concealment. Here, this is the important part. Again, right here. Can you guys read that? Foundational mechanics, addressing common issues, earning time and space to draw your blade, contingency planning for fumbled or failed draws. Woo! That's a great part of this module. And again, some people might see the way I do this quick draw and they're like, oh, I can copy the mechanics. But these fucking modules go super deep, guys. And they don't take a long time to view, but it's like love at first sight. You ever meet a chick and it's like you hit it off right away and you have like a super deep conversation. It's like that, right? It doesn't take a long time to get deep and get that profound understanding. developing extreme speed, which, by the way, is not the most important thing when it comes to rapid knife draw, but it's the coolest looking thing on Instagram, right? Extreme speed, that's for training, that's for attribute development. When it comes to application, you want to fucking go as fast as you can reasonably extract that blade under safe conditions, relatively safe conditions. Drawing your blade rapidly from basic striking, which is another. So you can see, right? Like, just because this is like a rapid knife deployment thing that looks flashy on Instagram, I get reels with it in these modules. Like, and I even tell you straight up, like, don't do this in a fight. This is an attribute development drill. Because I also teach you that you can apply the general to the specific and the specific to the general, right? Because this module is from a fixed blade carried in appendix position. But if you're a folder blade carried at 3 o'clock position, the same principles are going to apply, but you're going to need a little bit of brain power to apply the general principles to your specific carry condition. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So that's enough of me trying to get you guys to buy my $15 modules. Stop my screen share. Get rid of this banner. And then I think, what do we do now? Ask me anything. Add banner. That's what we're doing now. Just ask me anything. We're just hanging out as a Filipino martial arts community. God, I love this. It's so cool. How big of an effect has COVID had on virtual learning? PK University, Zoom classes, training with someone directly from the Philippines. What do you think of positive and negatives? So here's the thing. When the pandemic hit, all of these people who say, like, you cannot learn FMA from videos, you cannot learn FMA from YouTubes, you cannot learn it from the screen. All of a sudden, these motherfuckers was like, "Hey, yo, can you subscribe to my Zoom, please?" That was the best for me. Let me address this question in a second, D-Man. And because I want to bring up another point, which I've made in the past. You know, these old school dudes, right? Like in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, when information wasn't so readily available. You know, people learn martial arts. They read books. They watched VHS tapes. They went to one seminar or two. And then they turned it out with the boys at home. With very little, these guys are who we call masters right now, UFC champion coaches. So now that we have this abundance of information, people are all of a sudden saying, "Oh, you cannot learn from a YouTubes." I mean, if you can't learn from YouTube, it's not YouTube's fault. It's because you're fucking stupid, right? And so when, sorry, it's true, or lazy, right? Like the entire HEMA community have recreated techniques and tactics from crappy drawings, you know what I mean? And scrolls. So when people say you cannot learn from a YouTubes, they are right. But they're talking about a specific kind of dumbass. And that's not everybody. That's just the reality of it. Yeah. Fucking Coach Greg Nelson was telling me, like, he would go to a seminar because he saw a poster and he'd try to get a VHS recording, but he'd go home and he like smashed it out with like the bros back in Minnesota, and that's how they learned. And that's how also they were able to take accountability for their own progress, and they were able to identify what worked and what didn't work. So yeah, I think pandemic was good for a lot of martial artists, to be honest. It was devastating and tragic for many martial arts businesses, but it also in some ways illuminated that we can have somewhat of a level playing field, even if you didn't have the resources to have a brick and mortar store. I think, especially if you're in the Philippines, right? It takes little resources to start a little online training portal to run Zoom classes. So I think it created a revenue stream and a possibility for Filipino martial arts instructors to either make a living from it or to supplement their income. So I thought it was great. And then, you know what? We reached the point of saturation, didn't we? When it was like everybody had I mean, even now, so many Filipino martial arts Zoom classes. Like, I don't attend them. The only one that I really like, first of all, there's no Zoom classes available to the public for like 200 Jared doesn't do them, for example. Through Pikiti University, like there's which I think is great, by the way. There's platinum. There's a platinum membership where you get live online correspondence, but it's not like public. It's not like a Zoom seminar. Everybody, like all these Zoom freaking seminars, it's getting out of hand. The one that I will attend periodically still is Tuhon Jack Latorre's Zoom sessions. I really like the way he does it. Very thoughtful. But I don't know. I mean, I like Tuhon Jack's Zoom sessions sometimes. Not sometimes, like I didn't like. I always like it when I'm in it, but I just can't be in Zoom training too often. So I'm a little bit selective. But also, I haven't tried everybody's. Oh, what happened? Did my screen go away? Am I still on? Oh, okay. Sorry, I got a phone call. Yeah. But my crew continued training throughout the pandemic, man. And I know it sucked. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, we haven't seen our training partners in 2 years. The boudoir guys, we probably trained the most during COVID. I'm getting a phone. Who's calling me? Sorry, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. So D-Man, yeah, thanks for that question, bro. I appreciate you. I just want to make sure it's not like an emergency, guys. No, important. Nothing important. Sorry. I am a husband and father. I didn't want to make sure like my kid was like, Dad, I'm being attacked. Oh no, that was my son. I hope he wasn't being attacked. I would say follow his advice and try to look up some of Lonely Dog's. Oh yeah. Yeah. Benjamin Rittner. I would highly recommend that. He's good, man. Sorry about that. I would say follow Paulo's advice. Oh, that's hard to say for a Filipino. They might say, Paulo Faulo's advice. Yeah, Lonely Dog. Yeah, he's good. I think his training modules are also very affordable, like $10, but also hyper focused. Yeah. Lonely Dog. Yeah, do that. He's good, man. Oh, I hope to get the opportunity to get to spar him one day. I just feel like maybe I don't know. We're all getting a little bit older, man. I'm 43 years old. Yeah, you're welcome, bro. Did you achieve BA or MA at the Bell Center? Did you already have a wife and or kids at the time you set out forging your own path? What's a BA or MA? Bell Center. I'm not sure what you mean. I got a diploma. I think depending on where you live, sometimes colleges and universities are interchangeable. In Canada, I don't think they're interchangeable. Like in the US, I think college and university, I think it pretty much relates to the same thing. But did I already have a wife and kids at the time you set out forging your own path? Yeah, in fact, that's a very good story. I decided I had a really cool job. I was a master control operator for a broadcast satellite company, and I was essentially watching television for a living and assessing, HD quality, signal integrity, and all that stuff. I was like, it was a fucking great job. Get to watch TV for a living, super cushy. Working in a high-tech facility, a broadcast or satellite broadcast transmission facility. It was a fucking easy job, super easy. Wasn't challenging at all. It paid well. But yeah, I already had one kid and one kid on the way when I made the plunge. It was the scariest thing I ever did, but I don't regret it. It was the best thing I could have ever done. How often, how long are you teaching your sessions? 1 hour sessions once a week. That's it. So I don't have a lot of time with these guys. I want to make them killers. Dude, I saw your post where you are doing something with the VR. Did you post some follow-ups on what was going on? VR is going to be amazing. Yeah. No, I did not post any follow-ups. There was nothing much to it. Basically, that video was to highlight the pass-through capabilities of the new headset. So pass-through meaning you can still see the virtual reality interface, right? But you can see the actual environment in real time in high definition. So that's why I was able to do sub-IN with it. Anyone who's put on like I got an Oculus here, like the pass through is like black and white, it's grainy, and there's a slight delay. So yeah, I was super amazed by that. When are you coming to Australia? I don't know. You know what? How much are flights to Australia from Toronto? It's got to be expensive. Let's look it up. Expedia.ca. I might as well share my screen here. Here. All right, let's look it up. We'll just look at flights leaving from Toronto, Pearson International, going to Alaska. Let's say Anchorage. Let's pick a random date. Let's say, you know what? Let's push ahead a little bit. Let's say from July 10th to July 17th. Let's see how much flights are. That's not bad. Sort by lowest. Oh, it gets expensive. Is this a direct flight? Am I going to buy random flights to Alaska? Yeah, it's a direct flight from Toronto to Anchorage. Oh, no, one stop. Where is the stop? Actually, that's not bad. All right, well. Yeah, I would love to go to Alaska, man. Love to go to Alaska. I think I would rather go to Alaska than Australia. No, I'd rather go to Australia than Alaska. That's a tough call. Alaska or Australia? No, definitely Australia, because I can go metal detecting on those beautiful beaches. I mean, Alaska's great, but you can get eaten by a bear. Although you could get stung by a box jellyfish and die. So death by wildlife out of the question. I still think I'd prefer. Did I keep fishing? No, okay. Australia over Alaska, but I would love to come to Alaska, but definitely Australia wins. Now that I'm thinking about it, because we boil it down, right? Okay, beaches, wildlife, food, things can be equal, and then we distill it, and it's like we go to eye candy, and I'm pretty sure Australia beats the shit out of Alaska for eye candy. Eye candy. And then, okay, so one of those factors too between Alaska and Australia was like fishing. I'm like, yeah, Alaska, fishing. But then I'm like, what am I talking about? Friggin' Great Barrier Reef, man. Like Australia kicks Alaska's ass for fishing. So, although when it comes to bears, Alaska wins. But I would love to go to Alaska. Alaska's beautiful. Okay. Which module would be best for just doing straight up reps several times a week? For my module, believe it or not, it would be foundations of thrusting in the forward grip, because the foundations for thrusting in the forward grip contains a lot of footwork related to thrusting and retreating. So that's what I would recommend. If you were to get lots of reps in several times a week, foundations of thrusting in the forward grip. Because again, the module names are kind of misleading because they're all more or less tactical application modules. I think people who buy it will understand that. But I wanted it to be accessible to people. So there's a lot of simple exercises that you can get a lot of reps from. So yeah. Foundations of thrusting in the forward grip over at trainwithgn.com. Get it. Let me know what you think. It's only $15. Can't go wrong. For less than the price of a Zoom session, you can get a module recorded, pre-edited, ready for you to watch anytime. Okay. By the way, I'm just popping these up without reading them, so don't write anything foul. When you are asked what style of FMA do you teach, how do you answer this? You've had a lot of exposure to a lot of styles in your toolbox. Okay. I'd say it's inspired by Pikiti Tershakali. It's the easiest way. It depends how much time they have. But nobody really knows on the broader scope of things. Nobody knows what Balintawak is. Nobody knows what KI is. Nobody knows what Pikiti is. They might know Arnis. They might know Eskrima. They might know Kali. They'll know Filipino martial arts as something, right? So for the most part, people don't really care. People who have no exposure to it don't really care. So I just say I teach Filipino martial arts, even though I really don't. Who's producing good non-black polymer pinutes? Non-black polymer? So you want polymer, but non-black polymer? I don't think anyone's doing that. Why would you want a polymer? Why would you want a polymer training knife that isn't that's a why would you want a polymer training knife that isn't black? Why would you? Or maybe to match school theme or logo. I don't know. Many different learning styles out there. Some do well from observations. Other need hands-on a lot more. For real. Jim. Bro, Jim. This year's PTTA Asia conference is back to the same place where we were. Panglao Island, Bohol. And we can go back to Balikasag Island. I remember you teaching me box pattern there with some sticks that we found on the ground. I would love to do that again. And I would love to show you the progress that I've made in the Filipino martial arts since we were last together in the Philippines. So consider it, bro. I would, man. And Himanshu, we can have that moment under that tree in South Palms Resort. We were just eating that roasted chicken we got from outside the resort. Oh, man. PTTA Asia conferences. Freaking memorable, man. Memorable. But yeah. If you guys don't know, the PTTA Asia Training Conference happens every 2 years in the Philippines, and it's just an extraordinary experience. Check out the Pikiti Tertia Tactical Association website, and everybody is welcome. You don't need to even be a a Pikiti Tertia student. You don't even need to be a Filipino martial arts student. It's a great vacation. If you want some training also, like 3 training sessions every day with good breaks in between, the nightlife, the adventure. Oh, it's so good. And it's super safe because, and yeah, super well organized, logistically, like mwah, 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 mwah. So if you've never been to the Philippines and you want to go, and you don't know anybody there, like traveling with a PTTA is probably one of the best ways to do it. Yeah, good. Practice the draw. Do you have blade or sorcery on your VR? No. Come to Australia and Alaska. What the heck does that mean, Kill? Which of your modules are most footwork intensive? Yep, still. Oh no, you know what? 2 strike combinations in the reverse grip also. Yeah, 2 strike combinations, because one of them is like a barred off boxing where you do a lead jab and a lead hook, but we do it with a knife and reverse grip, and the footwork for that is footwork heavy. But still, I would say thrusting, foundations of thrusting in the forward grip is still the most footwork heavy. I am going to create a module strictly on footwork. No way! You're going? Yeah! Yes! Are you serious? Oh, man. Come on. Don't mess around, bro. Now we just got to get He-Man to show up. Oh, it's going to be a great reunion, man. What? Hey, if you guys are like listening, come to the PTTA Asia conference. It's so good. Yes, he's already booked. Bro, can I tell you, I'm so looking forward to this. I am so looking forward to this. Let's go. Oh, man. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Wait, whoa. Yeah, it was a blast. I'm watching videos now because I'm releasing some videos for it. Oh my God, it was such an amazing time. Madam Sam, I thought your recent Hubad Lubad Chisao mashup vid got a shout out from my Ishin Ryu sensei. Nice. Yeah. That's a great. That was great, by the way. And that was like Mark Medeiros and oh no. Oh, you're talking about like that video that I did. Oh, yes, with Datu Kelly Warden. Yes. That was a good one. I didn't even know I knew Chisao. Jen, can you set up a sparring for me versus that India fella, at this year's? Oh, yeah, that's Himanshu. Yeah, for sure. So the way that the sparring happens at the PTTA conference, so there's one of 2 ways, right? If you're grading in the instructor ranks, you are highly encouraged to spar. But when you spar, it's also a test of character and resilience. So you spar 5 times in a row, sometimes 4 times in a row. But it's also to test your mental fortitude. So yeah, but you can spar anytime, just safely. And you'll know the energy is super positive. Like nobody ever really spars to like prove their superiority over a specific human. It's to it's to extract yourself through the art. But also what's really encouraged is, sparring happens on the last day of the PTTA conference. And in those 10 days, you're learning so much. So a part of what's like valued is when you are able to execute the things that you learned from those past 10 days into that sparring, right? And so I've done that, and I would face somebody and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get hit, I'm going to get smashed, but I'm going to execute whatever it was. And so your metric for success isn't in defeating your opponent, but in executing something that you hadn't been able to execute before under that condition. You get what I'm saying, right? It's not about winning against another human being when it comes to these fights. Some of them can get really intense, don't get me wrong. It's about like winning that internal battle, right? If you have self-doubt that a technique works, or if you feared facing a bigger, stronger opponent, that's an internal victory, right? So our victory for success differs. And this is partly why I love how the PTTA conducts its sparring or its fighting sessions, is that there are personal metrics for success. And it sounds postmodernistic, but there really are no winners and losers. Everyone's a winner. First of all, I think that if you get the opportunity to do a full contact, real contact, stick fight in the Philippines, under palm trees, with a sea breeze blowing, maybe a light drizzle of rain by the beachfront, like that's a win, bro. Who gets to have that experience? That's an automatic win in my books. Anyway, He-Man still looks 26. Yeah, that dude. The muscle-bound menace from Mumbai. I just made that up. I think he's not even from Mumbai or Delhi. All right, dudes. Yo, I appreciate the time. I'm going to go. Yeah, this was really cool. 2 hours and a half talking with you guys. Circling back, why people hate monetization and commercialization of the Filipino martial arts. Answers: jealousy and ignorance. Should FMA be monetized? Absolutely. And then finally, go buy some stuff for me so that I can support myself in this frigging passion. Or not. Whatever. You support me by being here. Feed my soul. Hit that like button. Share the video. Whatever. Check me out on Instagram. How do I do that? How do you check me out on Instagram? Shabamskis. There it is. Follow me on Instagram. By the way, on Instagram, I show a lot of free training videos anyway. So if you're a cheapskate and you don't want to spend $15 to support the hustle, you can go on Insta. You can follow me on Instagram, and I have a playlist there called Train for Free, and you can get like 30 short training inspiration videos from there. That's another way to support me if you're a cheapskate. But no, for real, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Thank you, Nicola. I appreciate you. I will see you guys next time. But here's a little treat. The greatest intro outro ever in the history of Filipino martial arts podcasts. Peace, guys. Love you all.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go.
You're finished. No.
Get up. Gotta wake up, bitch. Get up.